Okay, first of all, before I continue, I don't know why, but I have a crush on that news reporter, Miss Rodriguez. Very sexy. I don't know if it's the shirt. I don't know if it's the lips. She has like a sex appeal. It's driving me crazy. I can't keep my hands to myself. Number two, how many microphones does that poor lady need? There is like 7 microphones all around her face. She's got microphones for her mouth, microphones for her ears, microphones for her nose, for her eyes, microphones everywhere. How many damn microphones do you need? Enough about that. Let me say first and foremost, I feel terrible for that lady. I have a lot of empathy for her. I can tell she loved her child just like any normal parent would love their child. But 2 sons killed because of, let's call it what it is, gang violence. When you seen that camera pan through that apartment complex and you seen a large score of black people, let's just call it what it is, guys. I don't need to pull any punches. If you have a apartment complex or a neighborhood with a large amount of black people, more times than not, it is not a nice complex. It is not a nice neighborhood. It just is what it is. When your first son gets killed, bad things happen. Bad things happen. You have 2 sons killed. This is what happens to a black family when they do not have a black father figure in the household. How do I know that there is no father? Why weren't they interviewing him? There is no father that's going to have 2 sons killed because of gang violence that is in the family home. That's just it. It is what it is. I feel friggin' terrible for that lady. My heart does go out for her. She didn't want her sons to get killed. But black women have to understand that when you're raising black teenagers, especially black male teenagers, you're going to have to work even more harder than anybody else to raise your son, just for the simple fact because society is already looking at you and you're already at a disadvantage. And I believe that. You are at a disadvantage. But you got to get your kids out of there. Don't raise them in no ghetto-ass complex. Don't raise your kids in a neighborhood or an apartment complex where when you go outside of your door to go to work, let's say you start work at noon, and you got people just hanging out on the balcony doing nothing. Yo, you want to live in a neighborhood where when you like, let's say you just pass through a neighborhood in the early afternoon or the late morning, there's nobody around. Do you know why there's nobody around? Because everyone's at work. But when you go through a neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you see a bunch of idiots just hanging out doing nothing, you don't want to live there. When you see $99 moving special, get the hell out of there. Okay? Because when you move into that apartment complex that only costs $99 to move in, guess what? Guess what you're moving into? You're moving into $99 moves in type territory with scumbags that didn't have credit. But they got $99. Anyone has $99. Stay the hell out of there. If you're going to move into an apartment, make sure you pay at least $2,000 so you can keep the riffraff out. I feel horrible for that lady. Get the hell out. If you have any more black sons left, lady, I don't know. What, do you have like 2 left? What? Get the hell out of that complex. Get out of there. All right, guys, this is Black Bigot, and I'm much more interesting than Colin Flaherty.